Ovechkin has it. He scores! He scores! Alex Ovechkin scores 895. There's a new goal-scoring champion, and his name is Alexander Ovechkin. He has done it here on Long Island. His teammates love him. There is but one. Alexander the Great, the greatest to ever do it in National Hockey League history. The moment that was on Sunday as you take a look at Alex Ovechkin. He on the ice today for the morning skate here in Arlington as the Capitals getting ready to face the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Rink Report, brought to you by PenFed Credit Union. Great rates for everyone. He is Tarek El-Bashir. I am merely John Walton. There was a lot of yelling. There was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of things happening at a game on Sunday.
Yeah.
And you, my friend, right off the top, getting to interview him as he came off at the end of the second period. How big a highlight was that for you in your career? I was so happy for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, John. That was pretty awesome to get the first interview. It's funny, working for TNT that night, I wasn't in the bowl. I was underneath doing all the interviews. So I'm kind of watching on this tiny monitor, and it was a little delayed, and the goal is scored, and my instinct is to find an opening to get into the bowl, and I actually ran down the tunnel onto the Caps bench with my phone up, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be here, but I can't stop. So I'm just videoing everything that's happening, watching the players spill over the bench and go to over to celebrate with Ovi. I mean, it was just so electric. And then to be the first guy to talk to him was awesome, because right when the camera guy was setting up to start the interview, I felt this. Ovi put both hands, he had his gloves still on top of his stick, and he just let out this huge sigh. And one of my questions was, that was a lot of relief in that sigh, right? And you could just feel all of that pressure, all of those weeks and months and maybe even years of expectations and pressure and the questions. Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it this year? Is the leg injury going to keep you from doing it this year? Are you coming back next year? It just all came out in that moment, and then he gave me one of the best interviews that he's given me in 2 decades. So it's pretty awesome.
The emotion, not just from him, but from the entire organization, the team on the ice, the front office, everybody who was involved in being there, and you can see he was so appreciative and waving to Nick Backstrom and TJ Oshie there, and then bringing in his teammates, which I thought, and I asked Spencer Carberry this morning for the radio show for tonight, to be able to first and foremost say, I'm not here without my teammates, acknowledge who's on the team now, and then, of course, the shout-out for TJ and Nick, which I thought was tremendous. And it was so emotional and honestly so difficult, even from doing the game on the broadcast, to be able to, wow, we still got a game here.
Right,
like, we still got to work.
No.
We still got other things to do after all of the NHL did such a wonderful job.
Awesome. Yeah.
And the Islander fans did such a wonderful job. Wayne Gretzky and his remarks and bringing in the Islander fans immediately. This happens on their front porch. They didn't know this was going to be happening in their building even a week before. They thought maybe. And then the families, the hats, the shirts.
Did you get merch? I didn't get anything.
I did not get any merch at all.
I didn't get a
that's
pin.
Okay.
No hat, no T-shirt.
Someone
could have just flipped me something.
I think you can go to the team store, and I think it's available for you there. You can see this was the emotion
so
afterward.
Cool. So
being
cool.
in the room and being able to see these guys. And I talked with Tom Wilson afterward. I talked with Charlie Lindgren afterward. And just in both of those interviews, the emotion that came off these guys.
Yeah.
John Carlson, I thought, was one of the best post-game avails he's ever done.
Yeah.
And was talking almost without questions being asked about the pressure that he was under. He said, for us, this was incredibly cool. Oh, great, he got a goal. He's closer. But for him, it was work because he had to come in front of all of us. And he's like, hey, now you're 8 away. Now you're 7 away. I'm sure it was relief that he had. But I also just what it meant to his teammates, I think, was one of the coolest things. And then Scotty Allen, who I talked to, it was Scotty's birthday on Sunday.
Nice.
He's never going to forget it. I mean, just all the different stories, all the different rings. We're going to be talking about this for years and years to come.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, someone asked me yesterday, I think, rank your top OV moments in order. And I was like, That's a great question, and I thought about it for a minute. Obviously, Stanley Cup, winning in 2018.
Game 7 Tampa Bay, for me, would be on that list.
Oh, okay. So I'm glad you said that, because with 893, 894, and 895, I actually threw a curveball. As much as 895 was awesome to be in the building and witness it and all the aftermath, for me, 893 and 894 had more juice and a little bit more meaning because it happened at home and because of the last 10 minutes of the game where it felt like Ovi was out there every other shift, and the puck that went off the goalie's shoulder that almost went in, and just the electricity in the air. So I would go, Game 7 of Tampa. I didn't even think about it. But I'm going to go Cup, 893, 894, 895, and then beating the Penguins in that Game 6 on the way to Tampa Bay. That's 1 through 4 for me.
That's a pretty good list. And
what do you got?
I want to throw this out because somebody had mentioned this to me, and I don't even remember what interview it was because there was a bunch of them that we were doing here on radio across everywhere over the last 3 or 4 days. Somebody had asked me, is this the biggest moment in MCI Center, Verizon Center, Capital One Arena history? And I'm saying yes, I think it is, because what would top 894? Ooh. And I don't think anything does. The Red Wings won a cup there. The cup was awarded there, but that's not a great moment for this team.
Right.
The Caps haven't won a playoff series on home ice since 2015. They have won them, of course. I would say maybe
Arena Football League championship.
I'm going to say that's probably not it. You know what might be,
without a doubt. You just stop talking. Stop thinking about it. By far, that's the best moment in
Here's
Capital
one.
One Arena.
Let me throw a serious one out. When they won the division title in 2008, and came roaring back under Bruce Boudreau, that's maybe the closest one. That moment, one of the best in the building's history, coming roaring back to win a Southeast Division title in the most unlikely circumstances possible after being last in a league in November.
And that was the launch of all of what's happened over the last 17 years now.
But I don't think even that tops 894.
Yeah,
I don't think it does.
No, I think you're right. That's an interesting question. I wish I had thought about it off camera so I could really dig deep. But I'll go 894.
Yes.
And then I do think the last place to first place charge in Bruce Boudreau's first year, that was the year they changed the jerseys back to red. I mean, that really was the dawn of the Rock the Red era. It all began. I know Ovi had two 50-goal seasons before that, but that really was the beginning of Alex the Great and just everything that came after it.
Yeah, and all of this happening over the last couple of days, his teammates celebrating him upon return from Long Island, a couple of days to, I think, mentally and physically refresh before getting back to practice yesterday. And now the task at hand, the Carolina Hurricanes in town tonight. This did not go down so smooth.
Fight night in D.C.
Spencer Carberry downplayed it, and I tend to believe that. But what I am looking forward to, because for 2 seasons running, the last 4 times we've gone to Raleigh, as we get a little bit of, this is a little bit of the shenanigans and the fight stuff that went on last week.
There were 114 minutes in the final 7 minutes of the game. 114 PIMs. That's crazy.
When you work alongside a one-time Capitals tough guy like Ken Sabrin, he starts to get this little itch whenever things like this happen. I've seen it a few times where he's ready to go down and open up a can on somebody. This was, I think, on both sides, something where it was simmering, and I can tell you from being in the locker room afterward that these guys were not happy with the way it went down. They weren't happy with liberties that were taken by the Hurricanes. And Rod Brindamore, as recently as a couple of days ago, was saying a lot of the same things. But I feel most of the time, not all the time.
I hate this play.
No, I don't like this either. And I think Jalen Chatfield may yet end up having an answer for this.
Well,
we'll see.
I did a little digging on that. Tom Wilson is still pretty fired up about what happened a week ago. That said, I mean, who's the toughest guy on Carolina? Like, he doesn't have an equal. Like, Stahl's not going to fight him.
I think Chatfield is a middleweight. Chatfield is tough, but I don't think he's not Tom Wilson, and certainly not Dylan McElrath.
Like, if he's smart, he's not gonna square up with either one of those guys.
No.
I don't know, but something tells me there might be a little bit of rough stuff early on, but then it's going to settle into an important game. Both teams are now at the stage of the season where they're trying to ramp up and get their game. The Capitals more so get their game in order going into the postseason, because I mean they've lost 5 of the last 7 games. They're giving up way too many goals. The PK hasn't been that great. some guys, their offense is dried up. I think there are a lot of explanations for that. I think human nature comes into it. They've got everything sewed up, right? That they're clinched in the playoffs. They've clinched the division. I think that had something to do with it. Also, the Ovi chase took a lot out of these guys. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on not just Ovi, but everyone around him to get him the puck, right? And to change the way you play to try to get him goals. And in this league, and I know Spencer Carberry said this the other day, I mean, if you are 5%, 10% down on your details in the defensive zone, or maybe even intensity, maybe it's a combination of those two things, you're going to lose. And you're going to lose bad to a team like Carolina.
No doubt. And I think it's very likely, and we'll have Trevor Van Riemsdyk with Katie coming up here in just a little bit. But I think the reason why I think you're correct in saying it could be a little bit rough at the beginning, but both of these teams have something to prove. Carolina hasn't won since they beat the Caps, and they have been beaten by Detroit and Buffalo, and they're not playing very well all of a sudden, and they've got 5 games to go to get their game in order, and they know who they're playing now. They're going to play New Jersey in the first round. That's a done deal as of last night.
Like 2 months.
I mean, we've known it really for a while, but we really know it now. It's math now.
Yeah.
And the Capitals, and we'll get into this a little bit later in the show, certainly looking like Montreal. Still a chance it's Ottawa. We'll see how that all goes down.
There's a big matchup between those two teams.
Yeah, tomorrow night. That's going to be,
God.
from a seeding standpoint, we'll all be watching that one. Montreal and Ottawa going head-to-head. Ottawa wins in regulation. That'll all but mean it's
from
going
a
to be
traveling
Montreal.
Party group.
I'll try not to put my Ottawa rooting interests in that one. It'd be awfully nice to see Montreal in springtime, I think, for all of us. Let's talk a little bit more about this in a moment, but Katie Florio today caught up with Trevor Van Riemsdyk a short time ago as practice wrapped up. He's a former Hurricane and talking about the matchup tonight with Carolina.
Well, Trevor, thank you so much for joining Rink Report today in what has been a whirlwind week for all of you. So, of course, we have to start with the obvious. On Sunday, Alex Ovechkin finally makes history with goal 895. We all knew it was coming, but how surreal was it for you to finally be out there on the ice in that moment and celebrate with him?
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't think it's fully even sunk in yet, the magnitude of that accomplishment, just because you're with him every day. You see what a normal, great guy is, and the fact that he accomplished something that'll probably never be accomplished again is surreal. And when he did it, I mean, just a moment you'll never forget, sitting on the bench, and when he got the puck there, you knew it's pretty much automatic from that spot. So it was, great to see. And I mean, he always seems to find the perfect time to score goals, to have those 3 days off after, so we could really celebrate him and his family and all that he's done for hockey and DMV and the whole world. It was nice to be able to have a little time to do that for him.
In true Ovechkin fashion, you mentioned the timing there. Of course, for him, it's perfect to have those 3 days. And we saw all the videos on social media of you guys, rightfully so, celebrating. What was your favorite part of all of that?
Yeah, just a lot of really good speeches, a lot of legendary guys talking about what Ovi's meant to them, and just to hear how special this is. I think it kind of helps it sink in. Guys like Backy coming and making a speech, Osh, all the guys he's played with reaching out, whether it's social media or hearing talk about it. So it's pretty cool. It's been a fun few days, that's for sure. And being able to celebrate with them, share a drink was a lot of fun.
Well, without playing a game since then, through a Carolina loss earlier this week, you guys have officially clinched the Metro Division. Of course, though, I'm sure your sights are set on bigger things. But what does that say about the hard work and the success of your overall season so far?
Yeah, no, it says a lot. Obviously, coming from last year was so different. We really struggled to score goals, and this year, right from the jump, we've been successful in that area, and that's kind of carried us. And obviously we're here because I still found a way to score at a crazy clip. But guys like Pro and Mike's and Willie all having career years and stepping up and taking that next step to really lead us to that record. And it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, like you said, it's nice to take a breath and realize those accomplishments that we had. But obviously the big one's still yet to come.
Well, Carolina in town tonight. We'll get to the fireworks that I want to talk about in a second, but you're a former Cane yourself. No matter how many years it's been, is there always a little extra emotion when playing a former team?
Oh, yeah. I think you always want to win those games. Obviously, shared a lot of memories with the guys over there and had a great experience there. But now on the other side of it, you want to stick it to them a little bit. So it's always nice to try to get wins against former teams, and just we know they're a great team in our division, and if you're going to make a run in the playoffs, it's probably going to go through them, and they've had a lot of playoff success lately. So it's definitely kind of set the tone type of night. Obviously, last game got a little bit wild, but yeah, I think tonight we're focused on our game and doing the things that have made us successful all year.
From everything that transpired in that game last week, we've already seen on social media this morning lots of outlets saying this is a must-watch TV tonight. Think we could see anything else go on?
Yeah, I don't know that there's anything premeditated, but when you get two teams that are as competitive as us and them, that have some history, that are probably sick of seeing each other, there's always a possibility that happens. But obviously, playoffs are right around the corner. You want to be playing the right way this time of year. You don't want to do anything stupid or borderline that can put you in jeopardy for the games up to come. So I know it'll be intense and highly competitive, but I don't know about any more than that.
Well, should be fun no matter what. Trevor, thank you for your time today, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, great stuff with Trevor Van Riemsdyk and Katie as this game gets going here tonight. 4 times in a row over the last 2 years, the Capitals have not had the benefit of getting a night in Raleigh, and I mean that not because we like barbecue, but because they don't have any chance to rest. It's always a 2-2, and you're always getting them. I like barbecue too, but they don't have the option of being able to be at full strength. They're always coming in at a back-to-back 4 straight times over the last 2 years. So not only do you get a rested team with the Caps tonight, but you also have last change. And I was talking to Spencer Carberry just a little while ago here. He said, I'm not going to undersell how important that is, especially against a team that plays like Carolina does, getting the matchups we want. They attack with a forecheck as good as any team in the league. And the roster that they have is a team. There are some guys that can't play for Rod Brind'Amour. And it's because it's kind of
Mikko Rantanen.
For one, but others where he's like, listen, you have to be a certain kind of guy. You've got to be able to work hard. Yeah. He expects a lot from his team, and when they go out and get guys, say, okay, that guy's a Carolina Hurricane. Absolutely is. It's because of Rod Brind'Amour. All the respect in the world for him, but you got to be ready for that forecheck tonight.
Yeah, you absolutely have to, and that's something that Spencer Carberry talked about after the morning skate. Is that's a major point of emphasis tonight is going to be clean breakouts, getting that puck moving north, and just in general, John, this is a statement game. I don't want to build up a regular season game too much, but for the Capitals, given the way they're playing, given the fact of getting blown out in Raleigh just 8 days ago, like they have to come out and put their good foot forward.
This is a round 2 matchup.
This is an important game for them. You're exactly right. They need to win. They need to win decisively. They need to show Carolina, hey, if we see you in the second round, this is what you can expect. Because right now, Carolina's thinking to themselves, we might have this team's number. So this is a great opportunity. The Caps are rested. The OV chase is behind them. They now are dialing in on the playoffs. They need to come out focused and playing the way they did, let's say, 3 weeks ago when they were on that big roll. And it's still in there, but, minus some key players, but it's still in there.
No Logan Thompson, no Alexei Protas, and really starting to sense that I don't think there's going to be regular season games for these guys, and the organization really hasn't said that. But when you don't see LT out here today, I was really hoping that even if it was just come out and skate standpoint that maybe we'd see him. We didn't, and now 1 week from tonight's the end of the regular season. So certainly getting to be a little dicey on that front as you take a look at he's been out since the Carolina game, which was 8 days ago. So from a timing standpoint, tough. No Alexei Protas either. It's going to put a lot more emphasis. Thank goodness they went out and got Anthony Beauvillier, a guy who can certainly very deftly fit in, you would think, here with what this team's going to be doing here moving forward. He's going to become a very important piece, number 72.
Yeah, absolutely he is. I would expect him to be that Protas type who can, move up and down the lineup. But most likely, I think he's going to play in that top 6, and he's shown that he can perform there. He's had a couple games there with Washington. When he was traded here from Pittsburgh, he had been playing alongside Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. He has shown over the course of his career, Matt Barzal, he has been able to play with top guys, and so I think having that flexibility is going to be really good for the Capitals. What concerns me about losing Protas is obviously he was on a heater all year, right? I mean, he was one of their best players offensively. He was one of their best players on the penalty kill. His size, his reach, just on a team that's already very big, just kind of put them over the top in the size category. and he was kind of emerging as a leader and a clutch player too. Like he was scoring important goals at important junctures of games. So losing him hurts. The Logan Thompson injury, you got to hope that he's going to be ready for the playoffs. But the fact that we're now within 5 games, and like you said, a week from today, the regular season ends. Goalies are different than other players. They need a little bit of time to get their timing back. They need to get on the ice. I'm starting to get a little concerned about his availability for Game 1. I asked Coach Carberry about that a little while ago, and he said, essentially, Charlie, I hope, is thinking about the fact that he could be the guy Game 1. He has to start really dialing in. Not that he has to, do anything differently, but he should understand that the way things look, he could be the guy.
895 happened on Long Island on Sunday, but tonight, as Carolina comes to town, a pregame ceremony that we are all very excited about. Alex Ovechkin going to be honored in front of the hometown crowd this evening. And this is the moment, the videos, the presentations that are going to go on pregame. This is going to be a wonderful pregame experience for those who – a lot of people made the trip, but for those who didn't, and for our town and for our building – this franchise's moment tonight at 7th and F.
It is, absolutely. And you kind of hope that the team feeds off of the energy because there's going to be the pregame ceremony. Sometimes that can have a negative impact on the team because, you're starting a little later. Maybe it's 9-10 minutes. I don't think that's going to be the case tonight because there's going to be so much energy. It's not, celebrating someone from 20 years ago. I mean, like this is celebrating one of your teammates who just did one of the biggest things in sports history just a few nights ago. So, and then they're going to have videos at every stoppage, right? So, every time there's a TV timeout, all the players are going to be looking up, reliving those moments with him. So hopefully that energy really just kind of buoys this team and kind of gets them off to that strong first period that they're going to need because, like I said, this is as important a regular season game as this team has played under Spencer Carberry.
And they will look to get the upper hand on Carolina. It's tough to believe, but only 5 games left. It's going to be 5 games in 8 nights to finish the season. 1 week from tonight we'll be in Pittsburgh, and that'll be it. Game 82, and then it is on to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Rink Report, brought to you by PenFed Credit Union. Great rates for everyone. For Tarek, I'm John. We'll see you at the rink, everybody.